Let's see if it works. There you go.
TSU, huh?
Are you on mute, bruh? Are you on mute?
Who? Can
Or
you hear me?
no, I can't hear you. Let's see if it's my problem. Okay, you on there?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Boy!
Oh.
We ain't even 40 years old yet. We shouldn't be having these types of problems. But
Ho. First off, this is not we. We're not French. This was you. Southern University came through.
All right, let's have this conversation because literally I have to go back to work in 14 minutes. But I just wanted to get your thoughts on what Diddy was talking about yesterday, man. Like, what did you think about all of that? And like just your overall thoughts about what they talked about yesterday.
The overall thought, man, is, man, like, hats off to Diddy. Like, you know what I'm saying? Throughout the years, you can say a lot of stuff about Diddy, and things have been said about him, dealing with all types of nonsense in the past. I'm not going to dredge up into this stuff, but for him to be using his platform, for him using his influence, bringing on his friends, colleagues, co-workers, whatever, to put on Front Street what's happening on Main Street for Black America, I guess on MLK for Black America, is absolutely what we need to have happen. Because if you look at it now, man, there are more people who know who Beyonce's husband is than who is the leader of the NAACP. So then that goes both ways. It can work both ways. Because as long as that person who has all this power and this notoriety is doing something positive for the people, it's a great thing. But it can also go the other way. But man, look, it's a wonderful platform. Him using what he owns, like Revolt is his. Like he is the embodiment of what we need to be trying to do. Like he has his own money. He makes his own rules. This wasn't something that was he had to ask, can he put it on NBC, CBS? He had to ask somebody, can I go do this, that, and the other? Like, this is not their time anymore. We're past asking. He has his own. So he went forth and put together what he felt like he needed to do for his people. And we need to take note of that. So for me, that overall platform and him allowing that and showing it and showing the people what he can do and bringing in all these people from around the country to speak. Like, you have rappers, older rappers, young rappers, you have actresses, actors, you have activists, you have grassroots, you have politicians, you have the mayor of New Orleans. Like, you brought in people from all walks of life. So I was reading in the comments one time, someone said, man, I don't know why T.I. keeps trying to speak, because there are some people that T.I. can reach that you can't. There are some people that T.I. can reach that Brother Van Jones or AOC may not be able to reach. Like, they may not be into their political game, but they may listen to T.I. when he gets to speaking. He has a platform, and he is putting his best foot forward to try to do something positive. Gotta respect that. Hats off.
So we're not gonna rehash a lot of stuff that was said, but I do want to ask you just a couple of questions. The first is that many of the panelists advocated that in states with majority populations, supplies should not be going equally to all states, but where the most vulnerable communities are. What did you think about that comment?
It's when you disguise equality for equity. Everybody gets the same thing. So I'm gonna give this millionaire $5, and I'm gonna give this homeless person $5. That does not make sense, and especially when we're in this pandemic. It makes sense for the people who need the most to get the most. This is just common sense, basic human rights. But what we have in the state that we're in is we have the president asking who is facilitating what we're talking about. He's talking about the states are going to get this and this and the other. That's not how you need to be looking at it. You need to be looking at the data, and the data should drive where you go with your resources. The problem with that is the CDC has been very slow and not really forthcoming with the information that they have, because the data anecdotally, we know as Black folks who is being hit the hardest.
Anecdotally,
everybody knows who's being hit the hardest. Black and brown communities, especially densely populated Black and brown communities, they are being hit the hardest. But they are having to get resources that have been sent to other affluent neighborhoods or other places when they feel like they don't need them, they're fine. Then they send them to send them back to the government. Then the government distributes them to the neighborhoods that need them, which is absolutely slowing down the process for the people who need them. We shouldn't be talking about equality right now. We need to be talking about equity. But that's always been Black people's fight. That's always been what we've been championing. Don't give me exactly what he has over there, because I don't need what he has. I need more.
So what do you think we could do, like, from our positions, you know what I'm saying, to like make that happen, man?
Look,
state of emergency. So like, what do we need to do?
There's a number of things that we need to do. First and foremost, you can't take care of your neighbor if you don't take care of yourself. So staying home, washing your hands, taking care of your family members, informing them of the proper information, because there's a lot of false information. Brother Dr. Ivory Tolson put out a post on Facebook where he was talking about how we follow Dr. Fauci, and he is the leader. He's the most knowledgeable at this point during this pandemic for the United States, right? Where Dr. Fauci has made, I wouldn't say missteps, but he has said some things that he's had to backtrack on. He was saying that this wouldn't be a major problem. At one point, I think in late January, he was saying there are 5 cases. We should have this nip in the bud, things like that. But those things were the same things that Trump was saying, but we're getting on Trump, but giving him a pass and let him slide. That's not what we need to do. What we need to do is have a huge public service announcement through what we know works. We know Black Twitter works. We know Facebook works. We know Instagram works. We know we can call our homeboy like, bro, y'all tripping. Y'all still out here at the park trying to hoop? Bro, y'all still, you know what I'm saying, running around, post up at the, like, nah, we're not doing it. We not, look, I know you're trying to make your money. I know you're trying to do you, but you need to sit down before you can't do you anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like, you hurting for a little money right now. It's okay. You'll be all right, because when this is over, you can get back to doing what you're doing, providing the service that you do in your neighborhoods. But we need to, first off, get the information out there. Stay at home, wash your hands, keep yourself clean, and stop taking kids to the stores. Don't move them unless they have to. Do other things that you can occupy your time and your mind. Like, on one end, it is absolutely horrible what's happening. On another end, some of us have been praying for an opportunity to kind of sit down and have a time to relax, to get our thoughts together, to kind of put some things together that we know need to happen in our neighborhoods. Because we have some great engineers, or supposed to be engineers, in our neighborhoods, but they can't do that because they're working at 9 to 5 to pay for their bills. Some of those people have been told to sit down. Now you have time to get your thoughts together, to write that book you've been talking about writing, to read that book you've been talking about reading, to put together that business plan you've been talking about putting together, to reach out to this person who makes websites, like a great friend of mine, Tori Alexander. He makes websites. This would be a great time to negotiate prices. You've been trying to get together that $1,500, $2,000 to get the, that website that you want in the way you want it. This would be a great time to have a conversation. So there are things we absolutely can do, but we need to start at home. Black Twitter needs to blow up. Instagram needs to blow up. Facebook needs to blow up with proper information. It needs to be a Black public service announcement like Diddy was doing. We need to encourage more people to go back and read that stuff. And we need to look out for our older people. Like, the society should be based on how you treat the people who are the most vulnerable. How we treat the babies, and how we treat the elderly. Well, for the babies, we need to be educating at home. We need to be still providing with education, because they're going to miss half a school year. But they're still going to be required to take those tests next school year or whenever it starts. They're not getting rid of high-stake testing. It's too much money in that. So they're still going to be responsible. So we need to still be providing some type of education. It doesn't have to be that formal, traditional. Could be planting a seed, like Killer Mike talked about yesterday. We should be able to grow things. Like, for my family, when everybody rushed to the store to get toilet paper, we rushed to the store and bought seeds. And we've been growing cucumbers and squash and things like that, trying to teach them how to live off the land, just being smart about what they're doing with their time. A lot of people having problems trying to put together like a homeschool and things like that. I would say reach out to my wife, putting together a great program, becoming exemplary on all social media sites. Just to how to set up your homeschool so you can sit down and teach, because it's frustrating. Trying to work with a kid, you've never done that before. The elderly, you had grandmama, granddaddy, uncle, aunt. You need to have that conversation. Like, I know you like to smoke your cigarettes or your cigars. Man, you need to put them down. Those are the things that are help take people out.
Yeah, that's right.
It's
okay.
Traditions.
I really, really like that. And that was something that Big Sean and Royce the 5'9" and, you know, a couple for, you know, I got to put them Detroit folks out there.
Uh,
But, you know, Killer Mike especially just saying, like, this is the time. And I loved how Diddy phrased it, where he was like, put the mask on you first, like they tell you at the on the airplane. Just making sure that you're taking care of yourself, taking care of home, and that being your responsibility, and let everybody else figure out what's going on out there. But in terms of how we can get engaged, especially with some of the stuff that Ayana said, they had an epidemiologist on there, Carmen Jones, who mentioned to us that we need to advocate for public research and making sure that we are having those studies happening in our cities and our areas where people who are sick are compared to people who are not, and we are, you know, really having a real clinical trial going on. So she really advocated for us to push for that. She also, and Ayanna Presley, she pushed for us to get on Twitter and hit up our governors and making sure that they understand that we need this data and testing. And now has a document that I'll put out today, where if you want to share it and put that on your Twitter, so you can hit up your governor and press for this, that'd be awesome. I do want to like shout out Denver. Our mayor has been on top of it. You know, we don't have the data here that we need. We know that the area where most Black people live is being impacted, but we don't know any other like actual data on what that looks like. If that's more men, if that's in the prisons, we don't kind of know what's going on with that. So he's advocating for it. But, you know, at the same time, they was like, well, we think that this is what's going on, so we're getting ready to open 2 more testing sites so everybody can get on there. And I mean, he just, even with it being anecdotal data, he still, as a Black man, moved on it and made sure that we got what we needed. So I think that if we can use our voice, like you said, on social media to start pushing our governors and pushing the people that, you know, make the decisions around us, because, I mean, there's places that Detroit people are dying. You know, from New Orleans, people are dying. Like, these people need help, and it's really gonna look bad in the prisons. So, like, do you have any like last words for people in terms of things that they can do to help that effort for us to like really bridge together as a community?
I think one thing that's very challenging and something we need to pay attention to, like this, people are in campaign season.
Yeah.
Are in campaign season, so this is the prime opportunity to ask for what you want. Well, Black family, we need quite a bit, and this is the opportune time for us to ask for what we need. And
Yes.
we need everything that brought about this perfect storm. We need better health care. We talk about how jobs have increased in America for over the last 10 years or so. But the brother also talked about last night, the jobs in America have been increasing. But you look at the job for African Americans, like the jobs that have been increasing have been like part-time jobs or seasonal jobs. So the numbers don't lie, but if you don't dig down in the numbers, you're looking at the wrong numbers. You're not getting exactly what you need. So contact your people, contact your congressmen and representatives, and let them know that we have things that we want. Protect your family, call your loved ones, read, plant your seeds. The other people, they also spoke about how absentee voting, Killer might talk about absentee voting and the census, for the man from North talk about the census papers. Like, look, it's going to be a lot of people not moving around. And there are some states still pushing forward with voting, absentee voting. Like, it's a shame. It's counterproductive. It's a conflict of interest to tell people to stay at home, but then also stay at home, but now go out and vote. Go stand in those long lines, because the lines are already long, but now you want people to stand 6 feet apart in a line that's already a half a mile long already. Like this that doesn't make sense. So, but we kind of know what's going on and what they're trying to do is suppressing their vote. But the most important thing, like, man, get the information to the people you can get the information to. Like, you know, you have a cousin that's tripping, that's still moving around doing his thing. He needs to sit down. He won't listen to unc. He won't listen to auntie. He may listen to you. So you need to have that conversation with him. Don't be like, everybody can't get to everybody in their family. I might be the only person that can talk to my nephew. I'm gonna tell my nephew what he needs to hear in the fashion in which he needs to hear it. The incarceration, though, like, that is absolutely crazy. Like that's crazy. How
Yeah.
we have people locked up systematically. We put people in jail, and now they're in a situation where the state is responsible for them.
Yes.
But the state cannot care for them because they're locked in a place, and we have not decided to free them when we have non-violent people locked up. And then the crazy part, I think back on when Yo Gotti and Jay-Z was fighting the prison system down in Parchman, Mississippi, when all those horrible conditions
Yes.
with blood and people dying.
Yeah. Still going on.
And that was a few months before this broke out.
Yeah.
So it makes me wonder, like, how are they doing now? Because that never was
They still
resolved.
doing bad. They still doing bad. And I do want to point some things out about that. I was on a podcast last week that specifically asked me about that. Parchment is still going through it. Rikers is really going through it. And there has been some pushes, like they talked about yesterday, for decriminalizing, a lot of different things, especially non-violent offenders and people like that. And the question still begs, though, like, if we could do this, right? Ideally, if we could do this, where do they go? Do they just go back home and they possibly have been exposed to this? Like, it's just so many other questions in terms of like how this will actually work out. So I'm just really, really concerned about, I'm glad that they're doing something about it, but I'm telling you, it's looking bad. They've had some lives on Twitter where you've had some men that's incarcerated that's like literally going live and showing their cellmate dying. And it's been really tough to watch. Like it's been really tough to watch, but it's going down. It's going down in these prisons.
What's crazy, man, is like the things that, like, I can't think, Angela I talked about last night. When white America gets a cold, black America has the coronavirus.
Mm-hmm.
The things we've been asking for decades show their head now. Like, these are not new things. These things is, like I said, the perfect storm. This is the perfect mix, and this is the gumbo that we have. We've been asking about health care for black people, for older black people, for people in America, period. We've been asking for softer sentencing for people. We had non-violent offenders locked up. We've been asking about the education system. All these things we've been asking for and fighting for. Now they're on the forefront, and now America has to look at them and be like, I didn't know that. America sounds like the governor or the senator from Georgia who said, I didn't know asymptomatic people could spread the disease until 24 hours ago. And you sound
Crazy.
You sound ridiculous. Like, how you sound ridiculous. But these are the things we've been asking for. Things we've been trying to get, and we just have to keep on pushing because, like, even through this nonsense, like Big Sean talked about, even though he's from Detroit, we've been given lemons and we've been asked to make lemonade. Well, all we've ever made is lemonade. We've been given scraps from slavery, and we came up with delicacies that people still eat today. We just need to be a bit more deliberate about what we're trying to do and lay out our black agenda. Because we can get through this. We will get through this. We just got to make sure when we come out on the other end, we don't walk right back into the same conditions we came out of. And I especially say that for education. It's no way in the world we should fight, scratch, tooth and nail to get back to the same education system that had already been failing us. We should not, and that's the same, goes the same for healthcare. We should not fight to get right back to where we were. We need to push forward.
Yeah. And I agree. And I do want to talk about with you a little bit further. I got to go back to work, but I want to hype up right quick the fact that Diddy said, we're going to continue to have these conversations because the answers is in our roots. You know what I'm saying? Our people throughout history have, and the history better than most people. You know what I'm saying? Our people have found out how to fix certain things, how to make sure that they were able to move around when segregation was trying to hold them down throughout the different laws. The answers are in our history, even when it comes to how we eat. And so I'm really excited that Diddy said that, he's going to continue that conversation, and it's something we can look forward to. But I hope that me and you can rap a little bit more about some things that people can do and continue to, like, push this information out. I do want to also push out those 3 books that Dr. Jess mentioned. I've been advocating for people to read The Color of Law. Please read that book. If you haven't read the 13th, what is it called? The New Jim Crow.
Do you? Oh
And
yeah.
it's based off, yeah, the 13th is based off of New Jim Crow by Dr. Michelle Alexander. Check that out. And Medical Apartheid is such an insightful book because it shows you throughout history how they have used the medical field to separate us and use us as guinea pigs, basically. And it even goes in depth to talk about the Tuskegee syphilis experiment. So yeah, I think that though that'll be cool for us to like wrap back about that and talk about history. Do you have some last things so we can wrap this up?
No, be safe. You know what I'm saying? Stay out. Like, be safe. Stay out the way. Wash your hands. Like, if you don't have to move around, don't move around. When you do have to move around, try to, if you can, if it's available to your finances and economics, to purchase in bulk and go back and sit down. And with this downtime, be productive. You have dreams and aspirations that you've been asking for time to get your dreams and aspirations out. Well, now you have time on your hands. It's not exactly what you asked for and how you asked for it, but you have it. So now it's up to you to do the best with what you have.
Mm-hmm.
You've been wanting to start that business. You've been wanting to write that book or read that book. You've been wanting to try this new recipe. You've been wanting to start a garden. You've been wanting to do these things that could be very, very, very beneficial to you, your neighborhood, your community, even your kids, your future. You could start baking now, and your kids may pick it up. That may be something they really like doing, and end up having a bakery 10 years down the line, and this will be the seed that you planted for them to grow and reap the benefits in the harvest. So be productive, people. Be productive.
All right, buddy. We'll try this again, and hopefully we'll get it right next time on top. All right, peace.
All right, peace.